Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we present to you a creepy tale of a man's encounter with the unknown. If you've ever witnessed the unknown, you're probably aware of how it shatters your perception of reality, as is the case with our main character in this particular story. Before we begin, I must inform you, if you suffer from a weak heart, well, never mind that. Roll the film.
It was a cold, snowy November evening. For Marcus, this was the perfect time to stay inside and play Skyrim on his PC. Skyrim was by far Marcus's favorite game to play on days like this, because he could ignore the outside world and get lost in the expansive game world. But Marcus had played through Skyrim multiple times, and was bored of repeating the same quests over and over again. He was at the point where he mostly scoured the internet, looking for different mods to extend his enjoyment with Skyrim. He had already tried several graphical enhancements and armor mods, and was now mostly interested in new quests to play through. By this point, he'd played nearly all of the most popular quest mods on well-known Skyrim mod websites, and wanted to find something virtually unknown. It was time to do some deeper digging. He searched around for a while, not finding much. As the search became longer, he dropped his standards. He'd take just about anything at this point. That's when he came across a webpage with a mod entitled, Come Find Me. The author's name was Lord Kleiner, and the mod itself was only 3 days old. Its description read, Solve a puzzle and come find me. After reading that, Marcus was excited. This was exactly what he was looking for. A new, relatively unknown quest mod with an intriguing description. Solve a puzzle and find somebody, Marcus repeated to himself. I think I can do that. He hit download and started it up immediately. Right away he received a new quest titled, Come Find Me, showing he had to find 23 items to solve the puzzle. This was a good sign. It meant it would take a good amount of time to complete. He picked the closest item marked on the map and set out on the quest. After following the quest marker for a while, it didn't take him long to locate the first item, a book with a strange symbol on it, accompanied by a single number, 6. The wheels quickly began to turn. Those symbols were familiar. He'd seen them in the dragon alphabet in Skyrim. He grabbed a notebook, marked out 23 spaces, and put the symbol in spot number 6. He figured he'd find all 23 symbols, put them in order, and decode it using an online translator. Simple enough. As he continued to play, Marcus was elated. This was turning to be a fantastic mod. It's interesting enough to hold his attention, and the question of what he'd find at the end propelled him forward. Though he assumed it'd likely just be some lame battle, the mystery of the puzzle and the journey to solve it was thoroughly entertaining. Marcus was already familiar with nearly every location in Skyrim, so it didn't take him long to retrieve almost every symbol. It was time-consuming more than it was challenging, but Marcus was just happy to be getting more fun out of Skyrim. Finally, he only had one more item to find. Soon, he'd have every symbol, and would be able to decipher the location and find this mysterious person. Like the previous items, he found the last symbol with no issues. Now that he had all 23 items, he immediately got to work translating. He matched the symbols one by one, using the online translator, and it took him little to no time to complete. However, something was very wrong. As he finished the translation, he became aware of a strange feeling. It was as though he already knew what he was looking at. But at that point, he didn't want to believe it. As he finished the translation, he slowly stood up, now fully consumed in absolute terror. He could barely comprehend what he was seeing, but as he stared at the translated symbols, there was no question as to why the phrase was so familiar. It was his home address. Just then, his silent fear was broken by a loud bang from the upstairs kitchen. Marcus's heart began to race, his head pounding. Without thinking, he grabbed his taser and moved towards the stairs. As he slowly climbed, each step felt like certain doom. He eventually rounded the doorway to the kitchen, seeing only a note on the counter. He took a step forward. The words were written in blood. You've found me. Marcus's adrenaline drained from his body. He was almost completely paralyzed in fear. After a few moments, he called the police and told them there was an intruder. He tried to calm himself down as he waited, and when he finally saw a police car pull up, he felt a sense of relief. He explained to the officer that he found a note after hearing a noise in the kitchen, and it was obviously terrifying. He excluded all the parts about the Skyrim mod to avoid sounding completely insane. The officer searched the house extensively, checking for signs of a break-in. To Marcus's surprise, the officer found absolutely nothing. The officer did what he could do to put Marcus at ease before leaving. There was little that he could do except assure Marcus that they'd do some lab work on the letter. The ink looked suspiciously like blood, and with clear fingerprints present on the page. It was a good sign that they might learn some more information. He took the letter in an evidence bag and left. Marcus tried to put the incident out of his mind as best as he could. A few days went by, and the police followed up with Marcus. They informed him that the fingerprints turned up with no matches in their database, but that they found a match for the ink, which was in fact blood. It belonged to a man by the name of John Kleiner, a murder victim found brutally stabbed to death in his apartment 2 states away less than a week ago. Though police couldn't yet explain the connection, they needed to treat Marcus as a potential suspect until they could process his fingerprints and DNA and clear him of any involvement. Marcus cooperated with the investigation and was eventually found innocent. But he couldn't stop obsessing over the connection between the note and the quest in Skyrim. First, he just connected the timing. The noise and the note were found while he was playing the game. But then Marcus remembered something. The author of the mod. He went online and confirmed his fears. The author's name was Lord Kleiner. The blood was from a John Kleiner. Lord Kleiner. John Kleiner. Could it possibly be?
So ends our little tale of intrigue. Marcus may never really know what happened on that night, but that's what happens when you come in contact with the unknown. If you ever come in contact with the unknown, word of advice, don't panic. It'll only make things worse. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you all next time.